Hello, so we've had Fujitsu's global CEO apologise. Now listen to this from today at the post office inquiry from Fujitsu Europe boss Paul Patterson. It is explosive.
Firstly, if I may just comment on what I've just been listening to this morning to the subpostmasters and their families. Fujitsu would like to apologise for our part in this appalling miscarriage of justice. We were involved from the very start. We did have bugs and errors in the system, and we did help the post office in their prosecutions of the subpostmasters. For that, we are truly sorry. To your question, Chair, around our ethics, I believe we are an ethical company. The company today is quite different to the company in the early 2000s. And clearly we need to demonstrate that both to our customers, to government, and to the wider society here in the UK.
Wow. So a second sorry in a day, 200,000 signatures and rising, is helping them have a long, hard look at their role in this. He admits that Fujitsu have been involved since the beginning, that there were bugs and errors in Horizon, and that he is sorry for what the sub-postmasters have gone through. So this is obviously a major development on top of Fujitsu CEO Takahito Takita's apology earlier on today. And he says that he does believe Fujitsu are an ethical company. Well, the proof is in the pudding now. So now he's said it needs to be shown to be ethical in their actions. Until they are rewarded, if they are to ever be awarded public contracts again, they need to prove that they can be trusted, and that is through their actions and through their support for this process and their support for justice for sub-postmasters that were wrongly convicted, largely based on shortfalls in their software with evidence that they have provided. Let's continue. So there we've got the discussion of Fujitsu's code of conduct, and he accepts there that they have fallen short of their own expectations of themselves throughout this entire debacle. Joe Hamilton in the background that you can see was a sub-postmaster that was wrongly convicted, I think, of stealing £36,000 using Horizon evidence all the way back in 2008. She looks quite pleased, with what he's saying there. But that's probably because this is the first time somebody, as far as I can find, from Fujitsu has actually apologised for the role, accept that that were bugs in the software, accept that they've fallen below their own standards, and that they are to be held accountable. They should be held accountable for this because they are saying that they are in the wrong, and I think that is absolutely massive. Let's continue to listen into the inquiry for the next bit.
Time.
And do you accept that Fujitsu evidence was used to put innocent people in prison?
Yes, there was evidence from us. We did have we were supporting rather the post office in their prosecutions. There was data given from us to them to support those prosecutions, so yes.
Wow. So we knew this already, and it was about time it was admitted. Again, Joe Hamilton looks happy with this confession here of this, because whilst it is true, and we knew this, the post office launched the private prosecutions, that is Fujitsu Europe's boss there, Paul Patterson, telling you, yes, the post office requested evidence from them, and yes, they willingly provided that to secure convictions against them in what he has now called, a great miscarriage of justice. So if we read on some of the reporting by BBC News here, Fujitsu Europe's boss has admitted the firm has a moral obligation to contribute to compensation for sub-postmasters. Well, that's what we're saying. So let's nail this down. The moral obligation doesn't mean they're going to do it, and that's why we need to keep the pressure on. But it is the first movement we've seen towards Fujitsu suggesting that they might help compensate victims. To be fair, today is the first time that we've actually heard someone from Fujitsu at a senior level take responsibility for anything that's happened as part of the post office scandal. So he thinks it's a moral obligation for him to contribute to sub-postmasters wrongly prosecuted as a result of its faulty IT software. So Paul Patterson said Fujitsu gave evidence to the post office that was used to prosecute innocent managers. We've just heard that. he added the post office knew. So the post office knew about bugs and errors in Horizon, and they knew it because they told them about it, because Fujitsu knew about it as well in its Horizon accountancy software early on in the process, which will tally up with the bug report from 1999 that we were looking at yesterday. The global chief executive of Fujitsu, Takehito Takita, also apologised, making his first public comments on the scandal. This has been going on nearly 25 years now, or 25 years back for some of the evidence of the thing of Horizon going wrong. He's not spoken until now, and that is because of the pressure we are putting on, okay, by signing and sharing the petition. That pressure is invaluable to keep, we shouldn't be afraid as taxpayers and therefore customers of Fujitsu, a major customer of Fujitsu, to hold them to account, to hold them accountable for what they do. Because yes, Fujitsu have the potential to do great things for the country, for the systems that we need, okay, but with that comes a great responsibility to us as well, to do the right thing. And the pressure that you are putting on is finally making the move in the right way and taking the first steps towards contributing to the justice the subpostmasters so dearly deserve. So he was speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and he said, "This is a big issue which Fujitsu takes very seriously." When asked if he would apologise, he added, "Yes, of course." So he's doing better than some of our politicians where they have held government roles, mentioning no names, and have failed to apologise for what they've gone through yet. So at least belatedly, he's doing that. Fujitsu has apologised for the impact on the sub-postmasters' lives and their families, and rightly so. Between 1999 and 2015, more than 900 sub-postmasters and postmistresses were prosecuted for theft and false accounting after money appeared to be missing from the branches, but the prosecution was based on evidence from the faulty Horizon software. These are the so-called Horizon shortfalls. Some sub-postmasters wrongly went to prison, many were financially ruined, and some have since died, and we have to keep them and that fact at the centre of why we are doing this, why we are demanding this, why we are signing and sharing this petition, why we're subscribing to this channel for updates, and why we want to make it known that this is so unacceptable. It has been described as the most widespread miscarriage of justice in British history, but to date only 93 convictions, still only 93 convictions have been overturned, and thousands of people are waiting on compensation settlements that they've been waiting on for more than 20 years. We need to speed this up. Mr. Takita, so the global head of Fujitsu, refused to confirm if the company will return any of the money it earned from the faulty Horizon software. Well, it seems things are moving fast, because it seems Paul Patterson, Fujitsu Europe's boss, seems to be saying, well, they've got a moral obligation, not that he's going to do it, but that they've got a moral obligation to. So keep signing, keep sharing the petition to ensure that we go from nothing being said to the CEO globally saying, I'm sorry, to the Fujitsu Europe boss saying we've got a moral obligation. Let's get that nailed down into a concrete obligation so that the victims of the post office scandal finally get the justice they deserve. So his comments come as others, after others appeared before MPs on the Business and Trade Select Committee today. Sorry, I think I might have mentioned before that it's from the Horizon Inquiry. It is from a select committee where they've been summoned. So additional points that came out from there. Fujitsu's Mr. Patterson said his gut feel was that the staff at the company knew about problems with Horizon before 2010. Post Office Chief Executive Nick Reed said he couldn't give them the exact date when they knew when the system could be accessed remotely. But there's an admission there that he does know that. Both Mr. Patterson and Mr. Reed frustrated MPs who criticised the lack of answers or knowledge of events, but I think what they have said is quite damning and telling already. Joe Hamilton, a victim of the scandal who we saw in the background of the earlier clips, said trying to get compensation from the post office felt like being treated like a criminal all over again, and we need to listen to the words of people like Joe Hamilton. Former MP Lord Arbuthnot said it was essential for the victims, some of which were living hand to mouth, to get money as soon as possible. You remember he was the initial MP who started supporting the Justice for Sub-Postmasters group. And Solicitor Neil Hudgell of Hudgell Solicitors, who's represented large numbers of them, said only 3 of his group of 77 wrongly convicted sub-postmasters have received full and final compensation. So that is a major update from that today. And you can see there's a lot of movement here, and it's happening because of your support in no small part. So keep signing and sharing the petition to hold Fujitsu to account for the post office scandal, because we've already, finally, after 200,000 signatures, got some movement on one of the demands. Thank you again for all your support. Bye.